If you are moving to the Boise, Idaho area, I'm going to take a guess that you've heard about Eagle, Idaho, and even considered moving to Eagle, Idaho. But I am here to tell you there is so much more than just Eagle, Idaho. I have moved so many people here to the valley, and about 90% of them want to visit Eagle, but I will tell you less than 20% actually move to Eagle. Not the only option. There are so many different areas across the valley. It really depends on what your lifestyle is. In this video, I want to break down 3 different neighborhoods that you should consider moving to. And these aren't going to be just 3 random neighborhoods I picked. These are actually 3 neighborhoods I myself and my family are considering moving to. These are areas that most real estate agents don't ever bring up, and they're not exactly #1 on people's radars. But I'm telling you, they have tremendous potential. Most importantly, they fit everyone's price point, whether you're 300,000, 400, 800, or over $1 million. So no matter what your budget is, you need to consider one of these 3 areas. In all 3 areas, we're gonna look at the day-to-day lifestyle, the commute times, and most importantly, what the price points are. And make sure you stick around to option number 3, because that is my #1 choice that I think is gonna catch everyone off guard. Location number 1 is gonna be South Nampa. Now, South Nampa is kind of everything south of State Route 55, everything west of Southside Boulevard, and you have the Lake Lowell that borders the south and the west side. So everything in that little pocket. You feel a little more isolated out there, but you're not too far away because you're only 5 to 10 minutes from all the conveniences that you need. People like to move out here because there's more space, less HOA pressure, and to me, it kind of reminds me of how it felt when you were growing up before massive subdivisions became a thing. In fact, I recently moved some clients out here who were looking for just that. More space, a little bit more elbow room, place where their kids can go out and run, get muddy, and not have to worry about playing outside next to busy street traffic. Found a really nice half-acre property, and we were standing outside of what is now their home, and there was a dirt hill nearby, and their kids went over, were playing on the hill, getting muddy, getting dirty. All the neighbors came out and just kind of greeted us and said hi and welcomed them to the neighborhood, yet they didn't even live there. Suffice to say, they said it felt like a breath of fresh air and really helped them decide that this is the house that they're gonna purchase. Now, really quickly, we found that property right before it hit the market, and we were able to snag that up before anybody else had a chance at it. So give me a call if you're looking for little hidden gems just like that. Now, South Nampa still has big open skies, big open fields. You're going to be driving by horses, cows, goats. You might see people riding their horses in the roadway. In fact, you will see that so much that it's almost gonna start to feel normal. As you drive through South Nampa, you're gonna see signs everywhere. Farm fresh eggs, where farmers set up little stands in front of their property, and you pull up, and the payment is handled off the honor system. That's right, you just leave your money and take the eggs you need. If you want to get even more Idaho, you will also see signs for whole cow for sale. And essentially what you do is you pull up to a place like this, you reserve your cow. When that cow is ready, you can buy the whole cow or half a cow. They butcher the cow up for you, divide it in nice equal portions. You pull your car up, they load your car full of beef, and you have meat for the entire year. And if butchered meat isn't really your thing, that's no worries. You're only about 5 to 10 minutes away from all your big box stores. You'll find all of it at the marketplace off Karcher and Midland. You'll get your things like Target, Home Depot, and Costco. And here's a pro tip. The Costco Tire Center in Nampa is the best tire center of all the Costcos in the valley. More appointment times and faster service. Continuing on in that area, you still have Winco, you have Best Buy, the movie theaters, and plenty of different restaurants to eat at. You even have one of the 3 In-N-Out locations in that area. But if you want to support local, I highly suggest going to downtown Nampa off 11th and 2nd. They have amazing restaurants from Brick 29, Messenger Pizza, Holy Cow Burgers, Flying M Coffee. One of my favorites is actually Little Saigon, some really good pho and really good service. It's a huge part of South Nampa. Somehow it feels really peaceful, an untouched area. People come out here to go swimming, launch their boats out on the water, kayak, or really just sit along the banks and watch the sun, relax. Let your kids play out there. Now, the whole lake is wrapped with tons of trails and walking paths. It's a great place to go take a walk, go for a run, let your dog loose and walk those trails. There are a bunch of little access points along the lake. One of my favorite entry points is Kingfisher Trail right off of Teal Lane. That trail wraps around the backside of Deer Flat Ranch, where it's a huge lavender field, and every spring they throw this huge festival that I highly recommend you go check out. The entrance to that farm is right off of Midland Road and Locust Lane, and I highly recommend you go drive that intersection because that is probably one of the most scenic intersections in the entire valley. You have big open field. Right in the center, you have Lake Lowell, it's glistening with the sunlight, and you have the rolling hills on the backside of Nampa. It's a spectacular view. I take everyone who goes on tours with me through that intersection if we're in South Nampa. Now, here's the reason South Nampa is not my #1 choice for my family when we're thinking about moving, and it has to be the commute time. Because commute time can be 30 minutes to an hour, and as you know, in the valley, we only have one freeway, Interstate 84, and if there's an accident on that freeway, you are gonna be stuck in some traffic, and it can take an hour and a half to get home. Minimal daily commute time is highly important for us as my wife works in downtown Boise, so going from South Nampa to downtown Boise every day was just not worth it for us. But if you don't have to worry about such a long commute time like that, South Nampa would be a perfect place for you guys to live. And on to housing for South Nampa. And in no way are these numbers I'm about to recite are solid. These are kind of the average numbers where buyers fall into. Here are the 4 price bands for South Nampa. And all that means is if you broke the market into 4 segments, these are where most buyers are buying at. So entry level would be about $380, move up into the $450 to $550, and the top tier being $800,000. So as you can see in the lower bracket, it's much more affordable than the rest of the valley. That mid-tier bracket will get you some really good new construction property, pretty close to the lake within just a few miles. The lower bracket, you know, you're not gonna be lakeside properties. Up in the upper brackets, especially on the south side of Lake Lowell, that's where you're gonna see, you know, that upper range, some bigger houses, luxury houses, maybe some land, half acre to full acre. So there's a lot of opportunity in South Nampa that I think you would really like, but if you're like me and the commute time is a complete no-go, I think you will like our next location. All right, location number 2 is gonna be the northwest area of Boise. And let me be very clear, I'm not talking about North End, Hyde Park that everyone loves to go to. I'm talking about the Sunset, Collister, Nez Perce corridor. That's gonna be everything north of State Street, west of 27th Street, all the way up to the Boise foothills and State Route 55, that little stretch right in there. This is a nice little pocket tucked nicely in between the Boise River and the foothills, and has a really local feeling to it with being minutes to downtown. Now, Northwest Boise is this area where a lot of people wish they knew about it sooner. It has a really mellow vibe to it, calm, relaxing. You'll find established neighborhoods with big trees, older homes. The neighbors in this area are the kind of people who have garages full of tools, and let's say you're working on your car outside and you can't figure out what's going on with it. This is the kind of place where your neighborhood's gonna come on over with all their tools and try to help you fix your car. I can almost guarantee you someone on your street has the know-how or the tools on how to fix whatever home project you got going. A lot of my clients discover this area after they move here and they start getting acclimated to the area. A lot of them say they like it because it's not brand new, it's not cookie cutter, it doesn't feel like the same house after house. Has a very different vibe to it. It is absolutely perfect for people who love to be in nature and want to be out in the foothills and the river, but don't want to live in the foothills and don't want to commute half the day just to go for a hike or a quick walk. A lot of the folks that live here like to wake up, go for a quick hike, mountain bike ride, and be back in time for breakfast, early lunch without having to waste the entire day of just trying to get to the hiking trail. In fact, one of my favorite hiking trails up in this area is gonna be Seaman's Gulch. It's a quick, fairly easy trail, maybe about an hour round trip. And I honestly think it has a way better view than the popular trail of Camel's Back Park up in North End. In this area, you have fairly quick access to the Boise Greenbelt, where you can go for a short walk, or you can take an even longer walk as this trail extends for 30 miles along the Boise River Greenbelt. And just like at Lake Lowell, everyone has their favorite entry point onto the Greenbelt. One of my favorite ways to enjoy the Greenbelt is starting off with a cup of coffee over at Alchemist Coffee off of 27th Street. After you get all caffeinated, head over to Esther's Simplot Park. You're gonna see a lot of people over there riding their bikes, walking, enjoying the pond. doing some stand-up paddleboarding. This is also the area where you can see people surfing along the greenbelt. From there, I like to follow the trail up north, loop around about Veterans Memorial Parkway. It's a nice little pathway that goes through the trees and the ponds, and if you're lucky, you might catch a bald eagle that's perched up on one of the trees. This is the type of area where people fall in love with the lifestyle first and then the home second. So if you really like, you know, the thought of going to the river, having river days, going on hikes, walks, breweries, restaurants, coffee shops, you are going to absolutely love this area. It's one of the few places in the valley where you can get to the foothills within 10 minutes, you can get to the river within 10 minutes, and you can get to downtown within 10 minutes. This area draws a lot of attention for people who really love the North End, Hyde Park area, the vibe over there, tree-lined streets, old homes with charm and character, but don't exactly want to follow the North End, Hyde Park prices. Now in this area, State Street pretty much has everything you need, from barbershops, hospitals, gyms, coffee shops, restaurants, grocery stores, all of that. So if you're cooking dinner and you realize you forgot the milk, you can head down to the store, grab a carton of milk, come home and finish your dinner. Now, one of the best parts about living up here in Northwest Boise is going to be the access to different foods. Like I said, you're only 10 minutes from downtown, so you have everything that 8th Street there has to offer. But you also have some different choices, like Kibram's Ethiopian food or Alanka's Russian food. But an absolute must-go-to is Cafe Sorrento for some Italian pastry. Now look, I can go on and on about food, but this isn't the video for that, so just shoot me a text if you are going to be visiting town so I can tell you all the good places to go eat. Now let's jump into a little bit of the housing. Your price brackets for this area is going to be $430,000, $580,000, $750,000, all the way up to $1 million and up. 430 pricing brackets, probably going to get you a nice ranch home, maybe a town home. Probably going to need some DIY. It's not going to be the biggest house by any means, but again, I need to emphasize people who come here choose the lifestyle over the house. In that 580, 600 range, that's where you're going to start seeing some of your 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, single level, remodeled, updated type homes. In the 750, 800 range is where you're going to start seeing some bigger lots, probably butted up right at the bottom of the foothills, and most likely some new construction homes in that range. And your $1 million up homes should be no surprise. That's where you're going to see some homes in the foothills, some really great views. It could be a mix of a remodeled, fixed up new home. It could be an older home, but sitting on prime land with, again, with some really amazing views up the valley. One thing to keep in mind about this entire area, and I've kind of been alluding to it as we've been talking about Northwest Boise, is the charm factor is extremely high. You're not gonna get those giant master plan subdivisions. You're gonna get mature trees. You're gonna get older homes. You're gonna get character. It's really for people who want that quick commute into downtown, into nature, but don't want to sacrifice drive time. Again, this is one of those places that people don't really hear about or consider when they're thinking about moving to Boise. But once they get here and start exploring North End, Hyde Park, this is one of those pockets that people don't ever think of, don't ever consider when they're thinking about moving to the Boise, Idaho area. But once you get here and you discover this little segment, this little corridor between Boise and Eagle, people absolutely fall in love with it. Now, if you don't want to be too close to downtown like Northwest Boise is, and you want bigger space, a little bit more elbow room, more of a quieter suburban feel, then you are going to absolutely love option number 3 because it is number 1 on my radar. Now, before we get into that, I know some of these places I'm picking are not for everyone. These are just some underrated locations that I think deserve a lot more attention. When you work with me, part of the process is we sit down and we really narrow down what you're looking for, what you want, what you don't want, and come up with a game plan and a strategy. And we really look for targeted areas that fit your family's lifestyle. So if you're moving to Boise, Idaho, just go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text so we can come up with a game plan and really start strategizing how to get you into the perfect home in the valley. Okay, location number 3 is gonna be Southwest Boise. Now this is the area kind of south of Overland Road, tucked between Cloverdale and Cole Road, west of the airport. Now, quite honestly, there is nothing exciting about Southwest Boise, and that's exactly why no one really talks about it, no one thinks about it or considers moving to this area. Honestly, if you're in the area, you're only there because you live there or because you're taking the back roads into Kuna. It's not quite as rural as South Nampa is, and it's not quite as urban as Northwest Boise might be. It's a nice little middle ground between both of those. It's a perfect place for those who still need quick access to downtown, quick access to the airport. Around here, you're gonna see people walking their dogs outside, taking strolls, chatting to neighbors. You're gonna have people who lived here for 20, 30 years. It really has that kind of feel to it. Now, like I said before, this is an area I have been eyeing the most. Why? Well, particularly, let's start with the housing, okay? Your housing brackets are gonna be about 400,000, 500,000, 700,000, pushing into 800,000 and up. Your $400,000 homes are going to get you those entry-level homes, maybe a townhome, ranch-style home. Nothing too big, nothing too spacious. Probably a little dated and going to need some work. Your 500 to 600, that's where you're going to see some remodeled homes, single family, 3-2 bedroom, standard type homes, probably built around early 2000s. So you're looking at a 20-year-old home. When you push into 700s and even the 800s and up, that's where you're actually seeing some acreage. I've even seen some in the 600s that give you quarter of an acre, half acre. But really your $800,000 and up is really gonna be those custom built homes. One of the biggest advantages you're gonna have in Southwest Boise is really the lot size. Now I've seen homes quarter acre, half acre, full acre over here at a fraction of the cost you're gonna see anywhere else in the valley. And on top of that, the HOAs over here are nearly non-existent or super minimal, which is perfect for those of you who want to do a little homesteading, have your own vegetable garden, you want to have some horses, some cows, some chickens, etc. In fact, my son's babysitter is in Southwest Boise, so one of the huge benefits is when they go outside and play, one of the neighbors always walks down the street with their horse and all the kids get to see the horse, touch the horse, pet the horse. So beware, you might see horses walking around in Southwest Boise. And if you are not the homesteading type, you can go a different direction and you can build an ADU on your property and you can have aging family members live on your property for some multi-generational living, or you can make some rental income and rent out that space. So a lot of the homes here are going to be in those 10, 20-year-old homes. You're going to see a lot of tri-level homes that are going to need some TLC and some fixing up. But if you don't think you want to do any fixing, there still are new construction opportunities over here, but they're not going to be in the same giant master plan community that you normally see. Oftentimes it's going to be some of those homeowners who have a full acre of property or more, and they subdivide their land, sell that portion off to a builder who builds a custom home, or to you, a buyer, who can purchase that property and build a custom home on top of it. If you are looking for a new construction master plan type of community, there is one big one going in the very south portion of Southwest Boise off of Cole and Lake Hazel. It's called the Locale by CBH Homes. Check them out. They have a lot of incentives and discounts that could be a good opportunity for you. Now, as I mentioned before, one of the major pros for me is that there isn't any big attraction or destination in Southwest Boise. And for me, that's a good thing. I like being able to live in a low congested area and traveling out to things I want to do. And the best part is getting to downtown. It's a short drive, 10 minutes if you take the back roads. If I want to hop over to Meridian at the Village, just hop on any of the roads and jump over the freeway. If I need to get to the airport, again, back roads, takes about 5 minutes. Now, the closest source of entertainment around is probably going to be at the Boise Spectrum, where you're going to find Costco, your movie theaters, a few restaurants. You can keep going up north on Cole Road and get to the Boise Mall. Or if you just head west on Overland, you can get to the Topgolf. Now, you do have a few big box options nearby, like, as I mentioned, Costco. You also have Walmart and Lowe's. But if you needed something more, all the other stores to get to, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, etc. Again, it's just a short drive to get to them. If you are a golfer, you have access to 3 different golf courses nearby. Indian Lake Golf Course, Boise Ranch Golf Course, or you can head into Kuna and check out the Falcon Crest Golf Club. For families with kids, you have access to some of the best parks in the entire valley. It's gonna be Molnar Park and Discovery Park. Both have splash pads, dog parks, skate parks, and really cool jungle gym setup. Honestly, the biggest reasons Southwest Boise has become my #1 destination of where I want to move to is, number one, you're close to everything without being in the middle of chaos and traffic. 2, If you want to get to some sort of entertainment, downtown Meridian, downtown Boise, Nampa, you just take the back roads and avoid the stress of the freeway. And number 3, I know I can get the most bang for my buck and a little bit of elbow room. I know I'm probably gonna have to do some TLC on the home I buy, but for me that's okay. I like knowing that I can have a little bit of a homestead type thing, grow my own veggies. My kid can run outside, play in the backyard, get muddy, as opposed to new construction where they just have a little strip of grass. So look, each of these areas are completely different, and it really comes down to what's most important for you. So if you're considering a move to the Boise, Idaho area and the 3 locations I presented aren't exactly a match, go ahead and give me a call. My information's on the screen. I'd love to meet with you, sit down, see if we're a good match for each other, and really narrow down a specific area that fits your lifestyle.